Hi friends, David here from Above AVL and Learn Christmas Lighting. And at the time this video is coming out, it is just past the Christmas season. And some of you had a really smooth season. Other people may just be starting to get off the ground. Other people may have gone, man, I tried to do such and such with my controllers and it just bombed. I just could not get it to work right no matter what. I had network problems, things didn't work right. What in the world's going on? How do I do it? In this video, we're going to dive into the most common things we see on a very consistent basis that people run into that are really easy fixes, but really will mess up your light show and keep things from running. Let's dive in. So, the majority of issues that we see with people having issues with light shows and networks involve IP address ranges. Okay, let me run you through a scenario. So you take a controller, like here's one of our Genius ready to runs, and you plug it in, say you plug it in directly to your computer to set it up from xLights, okay? So network cable from your computer to xLights. That means in the case of a Genius controller, it is going to have the IP address on startup of 192.168.1.50, I believe. That is the default. This is not a great color for you to be able to see it. Okay. That is the IP address it gets when there is no DHCP server or, essentially not one of these little routers. Again, I know that's breaking it down from an IT perspective in the mix. So, what do you do? If you're connecting to that IP address 192.168.1.50, then you're setting your computer somewhere that's compatible that can reach that IP address. Most commonly, you might do 192.168.1.49. And as long as your subnet mask is left at usually the default, which is, so let's just do that IP address. The default subnet mask on both of these probably is 255.0 dot 255.255.0. Okay, that's a little messy. And what that means is the first three numbers match, the last number doesn't, essentially. That's a really simplified version of it. So the problem that then happens, I told you I was getting to the problem, is that you go ahead and then you plug in that controller maybe into a router, maybe into your home's router in your front lawn. It now gets a DHCP IP address. So instead of this original IP address, when it boots up, it has a different IP address. Okay. And so let's say that that IP address is now 192.168.0.72. Okay. So now what happens is there's kind of two things that happen when we're talking about reaching it, one from xLights to configure it, and two with show data. Okay. If you plug that in, say that's plugged into a home router and that's the IP address that's given out. If you just connect on Wi-Fi with your computer, okay, you're going to be within that same IP address range because they both had that handed to them by the home router. Okay, I'm making a couple assumptions here. Yes, I know, but in general, that's going to be how it works. Those devices will now be able to reach each other. However, okay, in xLights, and we'll show a screenshot of this here in the controllers tab, you will have in the bottom corner a red dot, right? If, okay, red dot, if on the controllers page, it still says that it's set to 1.50 as its IP address. Okay. So that's something with xLights that you've got to be careful about. And this brings on another like 10 topics is that when you're uploading controller outputs, that's the main time, the IP address of the controller needs to match in xLights in the controllers tab to where that controller is actually at. And when it does, and your IP address is within range, you get a green light, right? We like the green light. The green light makes us happy. It means we can upload to it. It means that everything's going to go great when we're running our show. So the red light is either caused by your IP address changed or you're not within a range or you're not connected in a way that you can reach that device. So let's talk about this, okay? So this IP address, 0.72, okay, has now been handed out by DHCP by your router. Now, in most routers for the run of your show, it will hopefully be okay given the length of the DHCP lease that this controller will stay here and will not change. However, it could change. And if it does change, then it's not going to run correctly. So this is where setting up a static IP address, or even better, reserving the IP address to that particular device in your router is the best move, because you know it's not going to move. And setting a static IP address can work. However, if the device is off, your router could assign another device to that same IP address, okay, that 192.168.0.72. And when your controller boots up, things are just going to have issues because you can't have two devices at the same IP address. Okay. What else do we run into with networks and things like that? When it comes to controllers outputting to long range receivers, okay, that is not actually network information. Okay, that is technically DMX, which is what we use in stage lighting or moving heads used for control, as well as like fog and snow machines. From your controller, your long range receivers need a direct wire. You're not going through a router, not going through any switches, anything like that. Direct wire. Otherwise, it's not going to work right and you could damage things. Okay, so that's something to be really aware of as well. What else? Well, when it comes to this IP address business, really understanding this and how devices have to be in range with each other, meaning that generally the first three numbers of the IP address matches, the last does not, is honestly the key to solving 90% of the problems that people have with networking. It's really key that anytime you take a device from just using its built-in Wi-Fi to putting it on a network, or switching it from plugged into like a home network to a separate show network, that you make sure that it's reachable. Okay. Now, granted, many devices have an LCD screen, like a lot of controllers do, which can allow you to change that IP address even if you can't reach the device, which is incredibly helpful. Of course, if all of this is scaring you a little bit and you're like, David, this is a little too much, then guess what? Don't stick a router in your show, wire everything in your front yard, pick up an unmanaged network switch, which is just like the simplest, cheapest network switch, and give everything on that small isolated network its own static IP address. Okay. One common range is the 10 range. So you could go 10.0.0.1 and then 10.0.0.2 and just give a static IP address to each of your devices within that range, each device being unique, and then they'll be able to talk to each other. That eliminates the router, which is key, because if you do have a router and you set things to static IP addresses, you have to remember that in order for two devices to reach each other, they need to be in the same range, and the router also needs to be in the same range unless you have more complex rules set up. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense and is just a great brief understanding of like the most common network and network related pitfalls that we see. These are the things, especially the networking stuff, that when they hit you, they're going to cause you to pull out all of your hair and be extremely frustrated. But when you have some basic understanding of kind of the core principles that make this stuff work, then things tend to go really well and you can move on to making a great Christmas light show. If you're new to this hobby, check us out at learnchristmaslighting.com. We've got a free guide we want to get into your hands. And if we've helped you at all, we want to be your vendor for Christmas lighting over at Above AVL. So if you're new to this, you need some stuff, come get it from us. Our prices are reasonable. We ship stuff fast and we take great care of people. What's not to love? Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you guys there. Thanks.